Right, so the UFC GOAT list, that's a topic every channel does, everyone talks about it. I've been wanting to do it for quite a long time. I've been trying to work on it, obviously, after big pay-per-views. It's good to give a look at it every now and then. Like, fights do change, and it will change. Like, this time next year, maybe the next 5 months, it will be different. But I think compared to a lot of other channels, I'm not as radical and stupid with our views. Petyan's not in the top 8, spoilers. Arman Sarukin's not in here. You know, this whole thing's based off wins. It's not, and resume. It's not based off of, like, titles. It's not going to be based off of Anderson Silva's 10 title defences against Alex Pereira's 3, because we all know that Yuri Prohaska and Khalil Roundtree are better than Rich Franklin and Murillo Bustamante. You know, these random guys from that generation. I don't know why I said that. I don't think Anderson Silva even fought Murillo Bustamante. But you get what I mean. No one even remembers these people. That's how irrelevant they were. So anyway, let's stop slipping up on these. Let's just get straight into it. Number 15, I have Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira's real good. Obviously, very good. Most people don't have him in the GOAT list. Most people don't have him even kind of around there. Maybe top 25. But I think Oliveira's got a sneaky underrated resume. And there's actually not too many drawbacks when you look into it. And let's get into it. I mean, when you look at his resume, that Poirier win, prime Poirier, comes from McGregor, coming off Hooker. That Poirier was a favourite coming into it against the champion. Submits him, looks really good. Justin Gaethje, you know, this is Gaethje who went on to beat Poirier and beat Fiziev. And he submits him round 1, quite easy. Gamrot, I know it was short notice, but Gamrot's very good. Like, he's got some good wins. Michael Chandler, that is not a very good win. Be real, it's not aged well. At the time, it was slightly better. I mean, Oliveira's at 50. He's not got the best wins, but the thing is, his losses are only to the best. He's forever at the second or third place in his division, except for that time when he was champion, obviously. That's kind of where he's at, and that's better than most. Like, a lot of people might have Israel Adesanya, like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Gamrot, Michael Chandler, even back then in 2021. Those are all better wins than Vettori. I know he beat Whittaker, Adesanya, twice, but that rematch was very close. Like, it's not about Adesanya, but it's just like in comparison to a lot of these guys, Oliveira's got very good wins and very acceptable losses. Losing to Ilya, Arman, and Islam since he reached his prime. I'm really going to talk about the Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone, Paul Felder losses. Not super relevant, but point is, in his prime, in that run we've had for him in the last 7 or 8 years, he's only been the best or one of the best. Always been consistent with that. And I think that puts him at number 15 spot just based off of his wins and how good his losses are. No such thing as good losses, but they really are good losses. Anyway, on to number 14 spot, we have Stipe Miocic. I'm not sure how controversial this is. Some people might have him a bit higher. Some people might not even have it in top 15 at all. I think Stipe is very good for the heavyweight division. But as I'm sure you'll find out from my takes later on, I really think there's such a big skill gap. And I was going to say how it is. Beating top 5 lightweights are better wins than beating champions at heavyweight in a lot of cases. I mean, he has a good record. As you can see, Francis Ngannou decision. I know he got, absolutely molested in that rematch. That was actually really bad, really brutal. Didn't come back for 3 years. But still, beating Ngannou when he was on the come up, when he was undefeated in the UFC. You know, Daniel Cormier beat him twice. That easily his best wins. I mean, DC, yeah, you can say what you want about that. I think DC was a bit out of his prime, bit out of his depth at heavyweight at that point. But still, great wins. DC's one of the best fighters of all time. He's on the list, spoiler alert. But then you start getting to the things like JDS, Verdum, Overeem. All round 1K was all very impressive at the time. But it's these guys, they just don't hold up. They don't all hold up for the modern era, and they certainly don't hold up to the skill level of some guys, as you'll see later on, have these phenomenal wins against... light man skill is real. That is a real thing. And I just think a lot of these heavyweights aren't the best wins to have in title fights. But, Stipe's got some very good wins. Ngannou, DC are the main real good ones. Not many drawbacks. Doesn't have enough title wins at heavyweight. That's not really an issue. He has the most at heavyweight. Yeah, a lot of his title fights were against kind of mid comp, but at the time they were very good. And they're not like the Unk comp that Anderson Silva's fighting. They're comp. You know, they're like mid 2015s. They're decent enough to stick around. And yeah, he was too competitive a lot of times. I think, you know, that DC rematch, very competitive with DC. DC's very good. I'm not gonna hold that against him. But like Overeem dropping him mainly. You know, has lost to JDS. Got obliterated by Ngannou. I think it was a bit too close sometimes, but it's a very good fighter, Stipe. Number 14, just based off his wins. His only losses in, like, notable losses, not counting Stefan Struve, that was fucking years ago, but, I mean, when you look at Ngannou and Jones, his only recent losses, in DC, actually, I forgot about that, the first fight. I mean, very good fight, very good resume, but still at 14, like a lot of the heavyweights, and at number 13 spot, we have Jose Aldo. I think this is fair. I think this is very fair. A lot of people might have Aldo quite higher. I think it started to wear off as time's gone on, the Aldo glaze. I mean, just look at his best wins now. I love Aldo, I really do. But Frankie Edgar, TKZ, and Moicano arguably being your best wins. I mean, sure, if you want to go out Rob Font, Marlon Vera, Pedro Munoz, I mean, these are all middle-ranked guys. I mean, put Frank Edgar, former champion, great one at the time, put him in today. He's not even top 15. He's tiny. He's too small, even for featherweight. TKZ. A lot of people have beaten TKZ. A lot of people beat him after that. People beat him before that. Moicano. Very good one at the time. A lot of, like, Fiziev, like, 2 years later, knocks him out in round 1. You know? Rob Font, UD. Good. Schools Rob Font. Real good fight. That's why I think he's actually on here, is with beating these skilled fighters. They are skilled. They're top 10. They're top 7. But, like, when these are your best wins as a champion who had 7, arguably 9 title defences, that's just ridiculous to put him any higher. I mean, you can't put him above Holloway's. I know some people will try. I don't know how it's even possible. Obviously, his drawbacks are, to me, and maybe some people don't want to agree with him, but he didn't beat any of the other champs. He couldn't beat the McGregors, couldn't beat the Volks, couldn't beat the Holloways, couldn't beat the Pettyans, couldn't beat Marlon Moraes. You know, I know that arguably a robbery, but I thought Moraes won that. He doesn't have any of those super great wins. Like, those wins you look at, like Islam beating Volk, you know, and you think, oh my god, that is a GOAT legacy win. That's, like, one of the best wins you can get. I just don't have that of Aldo. And that's why he's in number 13. Very good, you know, a lot of very good resume. He just lacks the names on it, if that makes sense. And at number 12, we have Kamaru Usman. Usman's real good. He is real good. And I think this might be a bit controversial having him this low down, I'm not sure. Maybe people don't even have him this high up. The problem with Usman is, as good as I think he is, he only seems to show it against mid-level competition. Same with Aldo. Same thing as Aldo has. The competition he's fighting, while being better than Aldo's, 4 of his 5 defences were Covington and Masvidal. Those didn't age well. Even at the time they weren't great. Masvidal coming off losses, Covington coming off 1 win. I mean, he lost Leon Edwards. That's the real bad look. But, like, I'm not just going to try and shit on Usman. That Buckley win, real good comeback win. He's got Tyron Woodley. I think Tyron Woodley's one of the worst champions, to be honest, but he has it. Gilbert Burns at the time was a marauder, I guess. He was dangerous. He was a top guy. Gave Hamzat a tough fight. Like, they're decent enough wins. They're nothing to put them in the top 10 or top 7, but they're good wins. Obviously got the 15-fight win streak, very good. Got a platter of 5 title defences. They do help, but it's not going to carry him above the guys above him. He just doesn't have the value of these wins. I'm not really counting Leon Edwards and Sean Strickland early in their days in it, to be honest, and that's why he's kind of stuck here. He could change that. Like, if he beats Bilal or something, he would definitely be higher, but right now, and for me, in the foreseeable future, he's going to be stuck here at number 12. And anyway, let's go on to number 11. We have Khabib. And this might be controversial, putting him above Usman and Stipe, but the thing I have with Khabib is his 3 wins are very good. I don't think people give enough credit to how good the Poirier and Gaethje win and McGregor wins are. Very good wins, you know. I think McGregor's really underrated. I think Poirier is very fairly rated, to be fair now. Maybe not at the time, people don't talk about a win enough. Dominated Poirier, submitted him a lot better than Islam did, just saying. Gaethje, I know people like shit on Gaethje. Gaethje's actually not lost to many bad people. Gaethje's good. Gaethje's alright, he's good. Submitted him. the problem with Habib is what everyone says. He has like 3 good wins. The RDA win, the Barboza win, they just don't really hold up. Michael Johnson, these unks, it's just not the level of wins you need to be in a top 10 or even like around top 5. Some people put him in the top 5, it's outrageous. Habib's not that high. Obviously he's undefeated, which is very good. Not enough title defenses though, not enough great wins. There's no like, he's not got enough. He just doesn't have enough on it. If he stayed a year or two, picked up an Oliveira win, picked up a Chandler win, we were a bit different. But he didn't, and that's why he's always going to be stuck around this area until people start surpassing him. Number 11. But looking at number 10, we have DC. I think DC and Habib are very similar with their records, but DC does it better. You know, Paul Ray, don't get me wrong, I think Paul Ray, this might be controversial, Paul Ray and McGregor, I think they're better wins than Stipe and Gustafsson, which I think are DC's best wins. But then, like, DC just did it better, because I think he was... Yeah, he had a close fight with Gus, and he got dropped by Rumble and stuff. And fuck me, why is Anderson Silva on here? That was an awful win. That is not a top win to have. Yeah, I don't edit these, but I'm gonna be angry when I talk to him. But yeah, I think he just does it better than Habib. You know, he was double champ. He beat, I know it's Derek Lewis, but he defended the belt upper weight class, beat the heavyweight champion upper weight class, real good win. Gustafsson, at a time, very good win. Not aged greatly yet, has it? And it was split decision, not unanimous decision. But yeah, you know, real good wins he's got, you know. Anthony Johnson, I think Rumble Johnson's really underrated. Beat him twice, dominated him twice. Very good looks. He doesn't have, like, just like him, he doesn't have those standout wins, those, like, GOAT stats wins. But he's got more decent wins than Habib has. So he was top heavy. DC's not so top heavy. He's got very good contender wins as well. You know, beat Frank Mir back in the day, Roy Nelson. Again, these guys are ranks, but at the time, good wins. And he just has those. He doesn't have those. And that's why I'm going to have DC above him. But I don't have DC as high as some people might have him. I don't know. I think his skill was a lot better than his actual resume. But at number 9, above him, I have Max Holloway. I don't think it's controversial. Holloway's got the Poirier win now. That's a really good win, even if it's old Poirier. Poirier's still a dog. He can still give tough fights to everyone. The Gaethje win, obliterating Gaethje, looking like prime Gaethje, looking like the best he's ever looked, and he just obliterates him and destroys him. Aldo twice, real good. Those are real good wins. Shows he was clearly ahead of him. He does drop off a bit. You get to TKZ, Arnold and Yair Rodriguez. Good contender wins though. Those guys would be champions back in the day if they were fighting. I mean, not TKZ, but you know what I mean. Brian Ortega, Yair, Arnold, and those would be champions if they were fighting back in that day. And he's got those wins. His losses are all understandable. I know he's got a lot, but at the top, in your prime, losing to only Poirier weight class, which he avenged, Volk, which I thought won the second fight, and Ilya in a competitive fight. No shame in that. Beat Charles Oliveira as well. Obviously, I just thought that, but you can't put that on there anyway. Charles Oliveira, bloody neck injury in round 1. Not exactly the greatest, not even prime Charles, but you know, he has very good top wins, and he has very good contender wins to go along with it, and I think that's why Holloway's so high on this list. But at number 8, above him, Alex Pereira. I just switched this round actually before I start recording. Pereira is when you start getting into those real GOAT status wins, I think, on this list. Number 8, Adesanya, round 5. That's a real good win to have. Adesanya, you know, very good fight, very dominant champion at the time. Ankalaev, round 1. I think that's his best win. Ankalaev in round 1. Ankalaev looked, I don't want to say unstoppable, like he was dominating people, but he certainly looked like he would beat everyone, even if it was narrowly. He looked like he was just the best. Comes out in the rematch, obliterates him. Yuri, you know, and aged really well. I've always thought Yuri was a very good win, but it's definitely aged a lot better. Beat him twice, whooped him, you know. Blachowicz, I think that's actually one of his more underrated wins. Blachowicz is real good. Like, Blachowicz doesn't give away easy wins. A close fight for everyone. Outdid him on 3 months after getting knocked out upper weight class. Strickland, easy, round 1 finish. No one destroys Strickland like that. You can dominate him, you can beat him narrowly, but no one just runs through him round 1. And that's why Pereira's so good. There are drawbacks to him. That loss to Adesanya hasn't aged great. I wouldn't agree with that. I would say he's got some GOAT wins. Not like the top to put you in the top 5 just yet. Maybe he beats Aspinall 1,000%. I think he'd be number 1 to us. But right now, that's where he's at. Very good, very underrated. I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to it. But at the time, it was like he kind of like heavyweight GOAT. If we're being honest, just being honest here. But anyway, above him at number 7, Pantoja. This can't be controversial. I think I rate Pantoja very highly. You know, Moreno. Again, you get into these lightweight classes in the modern era. You really find the best fighters in the world. Beating Moreno 3 times is crazy. You know, beating Moreno 3 times is very impressive. Royval twice submitted him, beat him in a rematch dominantly. Carol France dominates him. Manel Cap, he has that win over Manel Cap, you know. Real good win. That's not his spell now. Damn. Gonna have to take that up body. Really can't type. Steve Erceg, maybe not aged greatly, you know, but Steve Erceg's decent. Steve Erceg's good. And that's the thing, Panto. She doesn't have that one win that makes you go, wow. But he has so many wins over his entire division. And some of them are so dominant, you can't just not have him up here. On an incredible win streak, 5 title defences against all great competition. You know, he's close. You know, he's close up there. If he beats Van, I think he's top 3, to be honest, if he beats Van. But this where he's at now. Number 7, not many drawbacks for him, but just lacks a bit that one or a good few godly wins that some people have. But above him at number 6, talking of godly wins, Ilya Tapora. Now he's the opposite of Pantoja. Pantoja has all these great wins over maybe not the greatest competition that will put you in the GOAT list, but he has so many wins over the contenders. Tapora's the opposite. Yusuf Slam and Josh Emmett, hardly the greatest wins over contenders, but then what puts them so highly, obviously, Volk, Holloway and Oliveira, all by knockout. Those are all some of the great, they're all in this list. And even if you've got different lists, they're all around that area. They're all great. And to beat them all when they just coming off their best... Holloway was coming off his best performance. Oliveira was coming off dominating Chandler. Volk was a bit different, coming off the Islam loss. But he still looked good in that fight. And Volk just won the belt back. That's aged even better. Obviously his drawbacks are like not enough of these wins. Not enough contender wins. Not enough title defences really. But he has the best wins in the sport. Just gonna be real. Best wins in the sport. Might not be the best. I think he's the best fighter of all time. He might not, skill-wise I think he might not be there competition-wise, but he's certainly... Sorry, I had to edit that out. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, because I don't remember what I was talking about of Ilya. Demetrius Johnson, number 5. I think this is very valid for DJ. I think this is exactly where he should be. You got a guy like DJ, who even though he lacks those real high championship level wins, he does have enough where you can talk about putting him exactly at 5, which I think most people have him. Joe Benavidez, you know, these are fighters that, even though they were from the certain modern kind of bit older era, I guess, that they were just better. Let's be honest, everyone knows like man skill was a real thing. These fighters were very good. Benavidez went on the 7-fight winning streak after this. You know, beat Pseudo. Talk of Pseudo. DJ beat Pseudo in the first fight, not long before their rematch. Horiguchi's on a real good run now. He beat him years ago, dominated him, submitted him. Bagatinov, not a very good person, no, but he was a decent fighter on roids, and DJ still beat him. John Dodson twice. You know, Johnson's a dangerous guy. He's a tricky, crafty guy. Got real good power. Knocked out DJ Dillashaw. You know, he's a very dangerous fighter to beat twice and not get knocked out by in, 50 minutes of fighting. Obviously, he's not at the super highest level of wins. And what really holds him back is that loss to Pseudo in the rematch. But he's certainly around that area. It's that guy DJ is. Mainly because amount of defences and they were all decent competition. Decent enough. And that's why he is where he is. But number 4, not sure if this is controversial or not. GSP. I don't know if GSP in the top 3. I know most people do. But it's just, when you look at his wins, he's very much like DJ. He has those good wins that can hold up. But they're not holding up as legendary wins. They're not championship level real wins. They're just very good wins. And what really cements him is that double champ status. Obviously, went up and beat Bisping. And unlike DJ, he didn't lose in his prime like DJ did. Even though I thought DJ could have won that fight, and so he beat everyone in his prime. You know, Condit didn't beat Condit twice, did he? Don't think he did. Might have done. I don't remember that. Thought he only beat him the first time. Nick Diaz, Bisping's obviously one of the worst champions, maybe the worst, let's be honest, in the modern era. But you still beat him off weight class, one of 4 years. Prime roided Hendricks, arguably lost, but still. And you see, this is what I mean. He's good enough to be at this level, but he's not going to be a top 3 like most people. Was actually above him, maybe controversially. I got Merab. Merab's resume is so good. Look at his fights. Umar would school Dominic Cruz. He'd be champion back then. You know? Sandhagen dominates him. Well, I wouldn't say dominates, but kind of handles him very clearly. O'Malley twice, submits him, finishes O'Malley, makes him look really bad. Petr Yan destroys Petr Yan, one of the most skilled fighters of all time. Cejudo, Aldo, he's almost got one of the perfect resumes. As he's got those top wins, those GOAT wins, like Henry Cejudo, you know, perhaps he doesn't have GOAT wins, let's not be real, but he certainly has enough wins over champions that are very good, and he racks them up so well that you have to have him around this area, which is what I do. There are 2 people I think are above him, and number 2, Volk. I rate Volk so highly. I'm a Volk glazer. I'm going to be real with you guys, I'm a Volk glazer. How can you not be? The 3 wins over Holloway. Forget the second fight, if you want to say that's a robbery. Arguably, schools him in the trilogy, beats him in the first fight. Diego Lopez, coming off after a year after getting knocked out back-to-back, comes back, beats the most dangerous contender in the division. Aged really well. Lopez just come off a win over Silva, obviously. Yair. Yair's a tricky guy to fight. He's a tricky guy to fight when you're coming off a fight 5 months ago, upper weight class. Coming off your first loss in the UFC, you're fighting Yair. Tricky style-wise, but he's very long and ranging, good with kicks. Destroys him, schools him, finishes him. Ortega. I'm not going to talk like Ortega's a great win, but still, absolutely obliterates Ortega. No fuss, other than the guillotine where he slipped over, and he still got out and destroyed him. Aldo, schooled Aldo. I don't care if people say it's not prime Aldo. Aldo was like 33. It was prime Aldo, and he schooled him. TKT, say what you want about that win. Not going to count that highly, but his showing of skill in that fight was just incredible. And he does have that Holloway GOAT status wins. His only takebacks, lost to Islam Manilla. I don't think those are takebacks. Those are acceptable losses. To have a very close fight with Islam in the first fight, and to get knocked out on 10 days' notice in the rematch, very acceptable. To lose to Ilya, who was looking unstoppable in a very competitive fight, on 4 months' notice after getting knocked out. Again, very understandable losses. But at number 1, obviously you can probably guess from where this is going. Islam Makhachev got me number 1 just based off of he's got the perfect resume. He's got those accolades. He's got the 15 fight win streak. He's got the contender wins. He's got the top wins. He's got the GOAT wins, and he does it consistently. Puts on great performances in them. The outstriking Volkanovski in that first fight, one of the most impressive things you can do. Out-grappling him in moments. Very impressive. Volk's so good. Not going to talk about the second fight. I don't think it's too relevant. Charles Oliveira. That's aged really well. Of course it has. He beat the guy in 11 fight win streak. Oliveira is one of those top guys. Always one of the best. At the time he was the best. Destroys him. Submits him. Poirier. I know a lot of people, including me, thought he'd run through Poirier. Maybe we've been too harsh on Poirier. Poirier's really good. Poirier is. He trained with Gamrot for that fight. The last few years, he got really good at takedown defense. Poirier's good, and to outstrike him and then finish him, very impressive. Arman Sarukian. I know it's short notice. I know it was young Arman. I'm not going to talk too highly about that fight. It's still Arman Sarukian, and he still beat him. When I think Arman at that time on short notice would have still beaten 75% of the lightweight division. Dan Hooker, again short notice. I don't know that guy, but who does that Dan Hooker? I know Michael Chandler bombed him, but who just runs through Dan Hooker like that, other than Chandler fluking it? Dan Hooker's, that's aged really well. Dan Hooker's top 6, coming off wins over Gamrot. Yeah, Dan Hooker's real good. Moicano, I'm not going to talk like it's some grand thing. Moicano coming off 4 wins. Training for a grappler like Dariush, a southpaw grappler. He fights Islam. He's got more going into that fight than Islam did. It was win. It was win-win for Moicano, and it was lose-lose for Islam. And Islam still dominates him, submits him round 1. Obviously, I think Islam is just the pinnacle of where it's at. Never failed a drug test. That's by Jones, Anderson, Silva aren't here. And he just has the best wins, I think, of all time. Currently, if he beats JDM, definitely still keeps that. Obviously, I think Ilya is the best fighter of all time. But talking of resume-wise, who is right now? It's definitely Islam Makhachev. Anyway, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Yeah, see ya.